Okay, guys, so good evening, everyone. So let's look out for breaker blocks, right? Breaker blocks. Yeah, so when we talk about breaker blocks, right? The formations of breaker blocks, it's usually like a failed order block, right? Another block that got flipped. If it's a bullish order block, then it gets flipped and it became a bearish order block for price to, and it becomes a bearish breaker block for price to sell, right? And if it's a bearish order block, price flips that order block and it becomes a bullish BB, a bullish breaker block for price to buy from, right? Now we have scenarios like this. Let me start with the sell scenario, right? So we have scenarios like this, right? Now looking at this scenario, right? We see price coming from, this is an actual demand zone, right? This is an actual demand zone. This is an actual demand zone. We are looking to buy price at this point, right? We are looking to buy at this point. You're looking to buy price at this point, right? You're looking to place a buy order at this point. And what happens? Price invalidates this your demand zone, right? Price invalidates it, and then price clears you out, and then look at where the invalidation happened. At this point, this displacement here, this sell force that happened here, right? Price clears you out, and then price will retest on this same order block here that got, before it got violated, price will retest on it before selling to the downside, right? Before selling to the downside. Now you could see that a demand zone was actually flipped. A bullish breaker block was actually flipped to a sell a bullish order block was actually flipped to a sell breaker block, right? Now we have price clearing liquidity. Remember, before these things occur, price must have cleared liquidity from this top, right? The liquidity here is from sell, people orders are lying there, right? People orders are lying there. People orders are lying at this point, right? There are orders lying at this point, and price sweeps the liquidity lying at this point, breaks this low by clearing that order block at this point. Price break this low, right? And we take out this low too, and we take out this low, right? And we take out this low. Then you see price retesting to the same point, right? You see price retesting to this breaker block at this point before selling to the downside, right? Before selling to the downside. Now we can also have some simple sell scenarios, right? There are some simple sell scenarios where price, these are also sell sector price, where price creates something like what you know as a change of character, right? But then price won't retest this thing. Price just retest here and start selling, right? Price just retest here. Let me make this change of character very obvious. Okay, let's do for a buy before we continue with other sales, right? So this is for a buy, right? The inverse of this thing, it's for a buy. The inverse of this thing, if I'm to turn this, if I'm to invert this thing, right? The inverse of this is for a buy model, right? A buy model using breaker blocks, right? So let me go back to the normal scale. So we have a price sweeping liquidity from this high, right? Remember, even as price swept liquidity, there'll be another block at this point, right? But that doesn't mean that the breaker block won't hold, right? Price will respect the breaker blocks, and price will respect the other blocks. And some of the times you also see tiny other blocks here when you scroll to lower time frame, tiny other blocks aligning with the breaker blocks, right? Some of the times you see it, but then most of the times you won't see anything here. It will just be a plain bearish candlestick, a full bearish candlestick that price used cells to cover, right? It will be too thick with blood, right? So you just see something that is very, very thick, and then something too thick like this. And then you see price coming back to retest onto it, right? Yeah, so is it for a cell model, right? And breaker block cell model, right? So breaker block cell model, breaker block cell model, right? So this is it for a cell, right? This is it for a cell. Now for a buy setup here, like I said, the buy is the opposite direction of everything here. So for the buy, you have price is coming from a downtrend, right? Normally, sorry, so normally we are going to sell from this point, right? You are going to sell from this point. Normally this is a BOS, right? A BOS, and you are gonna sell from this point here. You're going to sell from this point here, right? But then instead of okay, so you place your sell at this point, you place your sell at this point, and the next thing that happens, price invalidates this your sell here, clears it out swiftly, right? Price clears it out. My price will come back here, retest to this zone before going up again. Here, this supply zone that got violated, we flip to a bullish breaker block for price to buy from, right? Yeah, so you can see that a bullish breaker block is actually formed from a supply zone being violated, right? So we have the setup like this, right? So price clearing liquidity from this low, right? Price clearing liquidity from this low, packing people's orders, right? Price is cheap liquidity. We need liquidity to move the market. Price is cheap liquidity from that low and clear. There are sell orders here, right? Price will clear them by packing all the liquidity. The price sweeps every liquidity there impulsively, right? We break structure here, right? We had our BOS here. We break structure here, we break structure here, right? And then price will be buying from this breaker block at this point. This breaker block at this point, price will buying from. There will be a breaker block. This supply zone that price violated, we switch to a breaker block to buy to the upside, right? To buy to the upside. Price will come back, mitigate that zone, then buy to the upside, right? Don't forget, after price has broken out of here, right? Price will come back inside of it, right? Mitigate this same block before going to the upside, before going to the upside, before going to the upside, right? So this is it for a breaker block. Now, one more thing you need to know about breaker blocks, right? Due to the fact that when breaker blocks formed, there will always be an okay, this is like a minor BOS at this point, right? There will always be another block at this point, right? So to me, right, I'm saying this based on personal observations, right? I understood breaker blocks very well, but then I don't trade breaker blocks, right? I don't trade breaker blocks. I'm more of someone that trades other blocks and fair value gap, right? I barely trade breaker blocks. Now, for you now, you trying to trade breaker blocks, you must know that it's something you have to go to your charts and backtest, right? I rarely do trade. You hardly see me make a trade and then I caption it and breaker block as an entry. You rarely see that because I'm more of a person that built my time to understand how fair value gaps work, right? How other blocks work, and I prefer the concept of trading or finding my POIs using fair value gaps and other blocks, right? I prefer other blocks. I prefer fair value gaps. why some persons, several traders out there trades breaker blocks very, very well. So all these things, all these results that we've all gotten as traders, me, myself, and thousands of traders out there are from a certain result of something we've back tested and it's end up working for us, right? Now, this is your breaker blocks entry, don't forget. And this is the another block normally will be here, right? But then this is the breaker block should be looking to buy price to the upside from, right? Here is price clearing people's stops, right? Same as here, packing liquidity before reversing to the upside. So if you are going to trade this, right? If you are gonna trade this, let me name this breaker block by model. No, let me rename this by model. So if you are gonna trade this, you must know that here it's the supply zone that price fits by invalidating it and then reacting to the same supply zone now. But as price is reacting to it, it's reacting to it in the form of a bullish breaker block and then hence buying to the upside because there are still valid orders stacked up here, right? Now, so some of the times, let me draw another formation of this same thing, right? Another formation of the same thing. I forgot to add this slight guys in that so this is still on the same breaker blocks sell and buy model, right? So now you may see formations like this, you may see formations like this. This is actually a downtrend, right? And then before we reverse, you see price doing something like this, clearing everything here, coming back before moving to the upside, right? So let me try to show you something, right? Here also we clear liquidity, right? Price swept liquidity from this low. Price swept liquidity from this low. Price swept liquidity from this low, right? And then there here on its own, there is a demand zone here, right? This same demand zone was mitigated by this other low here. This higher low here mitigated the demand zone here, right? And this should be an MBOS, like a minor BOS, right? You may refer to it as an MBOS, MBOS, right? So just this one here, it's the major BOS you're looking out for. Just like when we have a structure like this, right? And it breaks, right? This is your BOS, right? Your BOS here, right? Why all of these ones, there will be tiny structures forming here. They can be your substructures on your minor BOS, right? All of these tiny structures that will be forming here, right? That price will be breaking. They can be your minor BOS, right? Sorry, let me make it this way. Let me make it this way. So okay, it's okay like this now. These are the BOS occur generally. These are the BOS occur, right? But now this is an MBOS, like a minor BOS at this point, right? So this is what I'm trying to show you here. A minor BOS. Because this one has to do with the higher structure, the bigger structure, more of like a higher time frame structure. Why these structures are actually found more of in a lower time frame, or they may not be too visible to be regarded as the BOS, you don't post informations on the chart. So this is your minor BOS here, right? And price invalidated the supply zone, right? Price invalidated the supply zone. Price invalidated the supply zone that was here and then flipped it to a bullish, this thing, what is the name again? A bullish breaker blocks, right? Price flips this to a bullish breaker block. Price flips it to a bullish breaker block. So this scenario of a breaker block sell model, buy, okay, this is a buy model. It's actually valid, like very valid. Clone. It's actually very, very valid. Very, very valid. So you see that both of them are not the same thing. It's actually very valid, right? Okay, I can't twist the I can't twist that. So for a sell model, right? For a sell model, breaker block sell model. Now recall, these things may not be very, very sharp as you're seeing it on this line diagrams. It may not be as sharp as you'll be seeing it in your this thing. What is it? In the charts, right? Breaker blocks hardly even appear on the charts. You hardly see them, right? And even if you're going to see them, unless you are trading breaker blocks actively, you'll be seeing them more actively, right? So now this is for a sell model, right? For a sell model. So you have price clearing liquidity from taking out this high, right? And then a valid supply zone will be sorry, a valid supply zone will be here, and then price will take on onto that supply zone, clear this low, and then retest on this same thing before selling to the downside, right? Before selling to the downside. This is actually work. Okay, so here we have it, trying to enlarge this thing, trying to bolden it so you guys could see very well. So here we have price clearing liquidity from this high, right? Clearing liquidity by taking out this high here, right? And price breaking structure by taking out this low here, right? Now, remember, this is a demand zone you are willing to buy price from. You are actually gonna buy price from this demand zone before it got violated, right? Your this thing was actually to buy from this zone, right? To buy to the upside. But all of a sudden it got invalidated and you got taken out. Now you here will be flipped from a bullish order block, right, to a bearish breaker block, and you'll be looking to sell from this region. You'll be looking to sell from this region, right? You'll be looking to sell from this region to the downside, right? While here, there will be an active supply zone at this point, and you have price coming back to mitigate this supply zone before dropping to the downside, right? So these two things are same, right? They are the same. Let me put the buy here. They are the same, right? So this is it for the buy, and you have your you have your BOS at this point, right? As we are selling, price will breaking structures. And here, let me take this MBOS back up there. So now if I'm going to invert this thing, right, they are all the same thing, breaker blocks, invert scales. So you can see that they are actually the same. Right. So let's look out for the charts and see things in the charts. Right, we won't waste time. Breaker blocks, it's not actually hard. You just have to take note of the key points. Price violating a supply zones, right? I'm buying from that supply zone. Price violating a bearish order block, right? And then, or a supply zone rather, I'm buying from that supply zone after the violation, after an impulsive violation, right? You need to see the violation here, a very big violation of that trend, right? So, and then coming back to retest on that supply zone as a bullish breaker block and then buying to the upside, right? So, sorry, let me get something back. So let's look out for the charts. Just little examples I marked out here. I saw some little structures, so I marked it out here for you guys. So when you look at this structure here, let me start with here, right? We clear liquidity at this point, right? We took out liquidity and we had here is like a minor break, something like a change of character. Now, some of the times you see other blocks present in these breaker blocks, right? Remember, if you're actually going to buy, this will be the, if you're using another block, right? This will be the other block, right? And you could see even in this one, the other blocks and the breaker blocks are rhyming together, telling you that even if you use just the breaker blocks, your trade will trigger without hitting SL. And even if you use the other blocks, your trade will still trigger because see, I use the breaker blocks and trade still triggered. So you could see how the other blocks and the breaker blocks was actually rhyming, even adding to this. So just very few of them, like very few of them. You will have to use what I've taught you and go to the chart to spot scenarios. Okay, this is not one. And spot scenarios where breaker blocks occurred, right? Scenarios where breaker blocks occurred, right? See one here, see one here. After this violation here, price clear liquidity and sorry, so price clear liquidity broke this high, and then when price was coming to retest on it, price retested on this breaker block here, this supply zone here that was supposed to sell from, price violated it and then bought from that supply zone as a bullish breaker block, right? We have examples like this, but I don't seem to. Oh, this is 4 hour time frame. So let me check other charts. Spending less time on breaker blocks. This is just the video on breaker blocks. It's actually something that you just need to understand how it works, and then as you're seeing this video, if you, as you're seeing this video, right, I don't need to write to you an assignment, right? When you go to your charts, after now, go to your charts and mark possible breaker blocks. You will be able to spot based on what I've just taught you, right? Possible breaker blocks you would see in the chart using what I've just taught you, right? So meanwhile, let's see if you could spot more examples of them. I could have called this one, sorry. I could have called this one, but then you could see that even if this was price violating here, this was price breaking this low, right? And if I would say that we tested on the breaker block, you see that the breaker block and the other blocks were actually rhyming because this is the other block, the black one is the other block, and you can see that they were actually matching together. So, but then if I let's be checking the charts, I need a very clear example on breaker. The breaker block and the other block was actually, because this is the other block, this big one here. The price sold from that breaker block after breaking this low and clearing that high. Right, price clear this high here, clear this high here. And generally, let's look for examples like this. Okay, we have one here, right? When price clear this low, right? And price clear this high. What did you notice? Price came back and retested on this breaker block. It could have been this small one, right? But then to make sure you're not doing the wrong thing, to make sure that you don't want to be taking SLs, use the whole of this, right? Use the whole of this. But then there is the breaker block, but then use the whole of this. Use the whole of this to make that trade, right? It's when you want to refine that you use this. When I mean use the whole of that, you use that and target this high here, this visible high here. You target this high here, right? So there's something. Cancel, right? So since you want to refine to get your entry because the RR is 4, then that is when you make use of this one. And you can see the price came back after breaking this low and this high here. After clearing this high here, price came back and retested on that breaker block and retested immediately on that breaker block. Let me make this thing very. This is a liquidity sweep, right? Yes, we all know that. and this was a break. Price they tested it immediately, and then this is a 1:9, right? A 1:9 setup. 1:9. So in most cases, you may be waiting for this other block to trigger and it may not trigger, and you feel like your other block is not confirmed, right? Some of the times price will also come back to the other block and play, but then the breaker block will also be respected because there are others also stacking up in them, right? There are others stacking up in the breaker blocks, just like the other block, the engulfing candlesticks, how you trade them, right? There are others stacking up in them. So these little breaker blocks, let me see if I could find my examples. Then you have to practice breaker blocks. During last year, right? The last year price formations, you could see price reacting severally on breaker blocks. Price was buying and selling from breaker blocks. But this seems like the price actions I'm seeing now. Price barely trades on breaker blocks. Let's see. Price barely trades on. You could see one here, but then the reaction here. Look at this one here. The reaction here was poor because we are more bearish than bullish, right? You could see the reaction here, but then to show you that it will also be validated. So let's look for valid structures of breaker blocks. Breaker blocks, right? Okay, now so look at this. We clear this high, right? We clear this high. Let me zoom in. Let me make it this way. So we clear this high. We clear this high, right? And after that, we clear the low, this other low, right? This was just how this one formed. This was just how this one formed, and price cleared the high and the low, right? You need to take like I said, sometimes they don't form as sweet as how you see them on those live charts, and price mitigated that zone and then sold to the downside. Price sold up to this FVG here. So let's say we are gonna take this. We are going to be taking your profits in this FVG, right? At the top of it, something like this. Something like this, right? Check your charts. As you're seeing this thing, as you are just through with it, go to your chart immediately. Go to your chart immediately to backtest breakout blocks, right? So you could see price buying from that zone. And we also have a valid other block at the top, but then price reacted from this breakout block, right? And set your TP here, right? Yeah, so let's look out for more examples. This one is actually one, but then price reacted from another block. Both the other block and breakup block was aligning, right? It's not a pure example, not a pure example. You can see that both the other block and this thing, they were aligning, and then we bought to the upside after reacting to that. So there are breaker blocks that price sells. There are several setups that price sells from the breaker blocks, right? But then you will have to do some of those ones, right? Yeah, take that as an assignment to spot as much breaker blocks as you could spot in the chart. Yeah. So go to your chart, spot as much breaker blocks you could spot, and then send to the group. I'll make corrections if I see any wrong contribution. We also have one here. We have one here, right? Price selling from a breaker block. We have one here. I actually don't need to mark out everything for you, but you could see that price took out this side, took out this low, and then reacted from that breaker block. And this low here will be your TP, right? This low here will be your TP. This low here will be your CP. Alright, so that is price reacting from a breaker block. Breaker block sell model. And before price reacted from that breaker block, you can see that price have already mitigated the supply zone. This first, just like the second sell model I gave you, price showed and mitigated this other block before breaking out, right? So that other block have already been used. The other block at that top has already been used. This is the 1:15 RR, right? And we smashed the GP. So go to your chart, look out for several examples on scenarios where price sold or bought from a breaker block region. Yeah, so I'll be ending this for today on breaker blocks, and that will be all on breaker blocks, right? Yeah, so try to backtest breaker blocks if you would like to trade with them. Try to backtest breaker blocks, how they play out, right? Try to backtest breaker blocks, and that will be all. Yeah, I'll be ending this Zoom section. Backtest it, send your work to the group, and then let me evaluate your assignments after you send them. Yeah, I will evaluate them and then correct you where you're wrong. Yeah, have a nice time seeing this.